I don't think beers.
Okay. But no drugs? Okay. Is the college okay? Or do you have another preference? I can't see how deep your wound is.
Where's the college at?
Oh,
VCU?
Yeah.
MCV.
Yeah, is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay. Yeah. Your alcohol input tonight may have had something to do with the amount of blood that you're outputting at this moment.
Well, I wasn't really that drunk though.
No.
I felt all right. I wasn't,
It just caused you to bleed a little bit more. 27-year-old male that was, he was more cut. He had a laceration in the top of his head from a knife wound. Him and another male were in an altercation. At some point, he pulled out a knife and was sliced to the top of his head with that knife.
I guess I really ought to feel lucky in a way. Any other time it'd be a gun.
You really probably should be, because it looks like it's just the top of your skull.
Go ahead.
And skulls really just bleed a lot.
Is that right?
Yeah.
You ready for it on?
Yep. Yep.
It's a pretty deep cut.
I didn't really take a really good look at it,
I've only seen
but
it.
looks like it's to the skull. How's that? It's gonna take some good staples.
Staples?
Yeah, they put staples in your head, not stitches.
No, the thing is, I saw the blade before you started slicing.
Do the best you can. You got everything pumping and adrenaline going.
If I can at least keep that.
Sweatshirt. Yeah, we got your jacket and your
I
sweatshirt.
understand it's covered in blood.
It's okay. You're fine. He had about a 4-inch laceration to the top of his head. It went all the way down to his skull. At some point, it hit a small artery in the top of his head, which was causing the majority of the bleeding.
But that's pretty amazing stuff to see a baby, huh?
It was pretty cool. Yeah.
I mean, you see it on TV and all, but there's nothing can replicate it. The real deal, right?
That's definitely true. Nothing like the real thing. I need one more pressure on this side.
What the fuck am I feeling so awfully dizzy?
Because you just lost a ton of blood. We can't quite replace it fast as we really want to. By the time we got there, he'd probably lost about 500 cc's of blood. So we started a couple IVs on him, and we got to the hospital as quickly as we could because he was feeling a little dizzy, a little weak. Just hold on to that, okay? As tight as you can. Don't let go of his toes because it's spraying. They put some staples in his head, got the artery to stop bleeding. He was fine by the time he left. There isn't really a typical day here. We can run anywhere from 2 calls to 12 calls in a 12-hour shift. You can run anything from, 5 psych patients to, 4 cardiac arrests. So one of the best parts about this job is that there isn't really a typical day. You're not going to be able to come to work and say, yep, it's going to be just another day at work. When I leave work, I leave work at work. I go home and I wake my other up and I'm like, you want to hear what he did today? And he's like, not really, but he listens to me anyway because he knows I have to tell somebody. And then, I leave it there and wake up and head to the next day.
If everything is supposed to be like it is, maybe 20 minutes. But everybody does things differently. I've been a paramedic for a little over a year, and I've been an EMT for about 7 years. What happened,
Fell down the stairs.
You fell down a flight of stairs, okay? I'm not going to argue with you on this. I'm being honest and I'm being straightforward. I need to take you and get you checked out. All right?
No.
At least let me do that. Okay? And hopefully nothing will be wrong with you. And then you can go home and do what you got to do.
I don't exactly know 100% sure what happened, but according to the bystanders, he made some funny noises and then fell down a flight of stairs.
How far is the hospital?
Just maybe a mile, but even that. So we're not too far from MCV at all. No pain anywhere?
No, sir.
I'm going to ask you to all the way to the hospital. I said I'm getting conflicting stories. I got to kind of believe what you tell me, but I got to kind of listen to the bystanders also. They're saying you may have fell down a whole lot of stairs.
No, hell no. I'm still conscious when I fell.
You're still conscious when you fell?
What it sounds like, worst case scenario is he had a seizure and then fell.
Okay. And you said the last time you had a seizure was when you were a kid?
4 or 5.
4 or 5. I'm glad you decided to go. Like I said, I can't see inside you, so I don't know what's going on in there. When we get to the hospital, I do need to get a signature from you. right? And what it's saying is that you gave us permission to treat and transport you.
But I didn't.
I thought you agreed to go, right?
Nah.
No?
I told y'all no. I didn't want to go.
Okay, but we agreed that worst case scenario you need to get checked out, right?
Yeah.
If he had been adamant about not going and said no, 100% I'm not going, then we would have gotten the police to step in.
We can deem someone incompetent to make their own decisions, and once we get the law enforcement involved, technically their power of attorney isn't gone.
Even if they are competent, sound in mind, you know, and said, hey, I know where I am right now, I know what's going on, I know what today is, I know what my name is, I know where I am, I'm aware of the risks and all that stuff. Even then, as far as a liability thing, we can't just be like, okay, go ahead and die.
In all reality, though, when it all boils down to a legality issue, you have a right to die. Because the real side is it can be boring and monotonous. It's the same thing day in and day out, and you might get a real emergency call maybe once in a shift. Sometimes, I mean, once in a work week, sometimes twice in a work week. And then you have other weeks where every night you're running a critical patient, at least one a night, if not two. How you doing? My name's Michael. This is my partner, Dan. What kind of pain are you having in your eye right now?
It hurt up here and down here.
Okay. What kind of pain? Is it like a sharp pain, or is it a, you can see a light, is it like a burning?
It's burning.
Open up real wide, both up, no, both your eyes. Okay, how many ants did she pull out? Are you mom? Do you want to go down and get checked out? We don't mind taking them down and getting them looked at. Most of the ants we have here in this area are non-lethal, so it's going to be like a burning type sting. It's up to you. Worst case scenario, he could be having an allergic reaction to it, but he's not showing any signs of something. Is it hard to see out of that eye?
Yeah.
Something stuck in it. Where does it feel like it is?
It's like in here.
He's saying he got stung twice in the eye by a couple ants, and it's like I told him in there. To my knowledge, from what I've learned, we don't have deadly ants here. You can have an allergic reaction to just about anything that stings you if your body doesn't like it. So once he said blurred vision, then I was a little bit more okay. Maybe we should take him down to the hospital and get him checked out. A lot of calls that we do like that, there's nothing wrong with people being able to stay at home and be observed by their parents or things like that. If your symptoms get worse, call us back. But it doesn't sound like it actually hit the eyeball the way he's describing. You have one on the lower eyelid, one on the upper eyelid. We're only a fine line from being a prisoner. We're only a fine line from being homeless and poor. We're only a fine line from being, a drug addict or an alcoholic. One thing, and it may be a week, dude, and you're down in the dumps. We just recently had a nasty house fire where there were some children involved, and we were a second-in unit, and I had a little girl that there was nothing I could do for her. But basically supportive all the way to the hospital, and even that wasn't going to be enough. Everybody knew she wasn't going to make it. She wasn't a viable person after she was thrown out the house, but I lost it in the trauma room after I went back in and started to cry and things like that.
Not really to stay focused and to do what you had to do. That's not the problem. It's afterwards. It's after you kind of calm down and the adrenaline goes away that you kind of realize what's going on. And it's upsetting. I was upset about it for a couple of days.
People fail to forget that we're human.
Right.
We make mistakes just like anyone else, the whole 9 yards. We all have emotional sides doing this. Certain calls bother me that don't bother other people, things like that. The calls that mainly bother me the most are calls that remind me of my family members. If a patient reminds me of my brother, or reminds me of my mother or grandparents or something like that, and I see them hurt, because to me, family is very important. Nobody ever thought I'd be doing this. I completely opposite. Everybody always thought I was either end up in prison or dead. I was hard-headed when I was young, and I was hard-headed when I was an early adult. So now when I see teachers and people that I grew up with and stuff like that, they're amazed to find out that I'm a paramedic.